Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank you all for being here today. Looking forward to hearing the reflections from Anchor and CPGO today. Just to give you all a brief introduction to our speakers for today, representing Anchor Institution, we have Dr. Karen Bishop. Karen Bishop holds a PhD in entrepreneurship and organizational behavior. She's a certified public accountant and a certified internal auditor in financial and other areas. Since graduating college, she has volunteered with underprivileged communities and has an intimate knowledge of the effects of racism in the US. Originally from Canada, she grew up in Alabama. The second speaker will be joining us for this evening is Diva T. Williams. Diva is a queer, Black, Latina, and disabled aspiring academic and cultural critic who explores the intersection of race, gender, and geek culture. Known for her panel, Black Nerds Matter, the intersection of race and otaku culture and anime bosters since 2016. She sparks critical conversations around inclusivity and representation in fandom spaces. Passionate about storytelling, Diva challenged her unique perspectives into challenging societal norms and advocating for a more inclusive community. Um, we'll have both speakers, or rather CPGO, go after Anchor Institution. And so starting our reflection, we'll hand it to Karen Bishop to get us started.
Okay, thanks everybody. Our last anchor meeting, we got together and about 4 or 5 of us and pulled together our own summary. So I've got a summary that we talked about. I'd like to go through those briefly and then open it up for either questions or um, additional comments by the anchor team members that are here. Our successes from last year, I'm really happy to have gone through these because by the time our year ended, um, I wasn't feeling very successful. But we had a wonderful retreat offsite in person. That was one of our successes. We had 2 or 3 members that have participated in the CPGO um, team, mainly because we needed to know whether or not we were duplicating things or overlapping. Also, we have some members that have a great deal in common with some of the goals of CPGO. There's a great deal of synergy there. We also invited Faith Network members to attend our meeting halfway through the year, and we did have people attend. Um, Also, at one point, we were to get Andre Bennett in as an active member with us because we greatly needed some leadership in the diversity area in our faith network. We we met with Nia at the end of the year, which helped greatly, and she gave us a good bit of guidance. Also, and this is nothing that is insignificant, Steve Dubb has been working with the pilot group, which works on the, how do I describe pilot? They work on ensuring that our institutions that don't pay property taxes provide benefit to the society or to the community and the city. And this year, with the property tax um, problems that we're having in the city, all of our Ujima community is going to be impacted by what happens to both rental property taxes and how that's going to affect their rental, as well as people who own their own property. So, oh, here we go from Ray, payment in lieu of taxes. Those are our successes. Um, our challenges are great. our membership has been shrinking, and a lot of this has to come from our history. Ujima originally had primary goals of funding the fund, the investment fund. And basically, white communities were recruited for that because that's where the money was, I'm assuming. And so a number of our members over the years have joined the anchor team because of their connection with the faith network. One of the challenges in the faith network is the fact that it's almost entirely, if not entirely, 100% white. And we need some leadership diversity there. So we not only have a problem with member capacity, we need some leadership diversity. We've been the only organizing team that doesn't have a non-white person in our leadership, which we know we need. Our asks, we have asked the staff for greater support because of our struggle with where we're going in the future. And to give my own personal feeling about this is sometimes I feel like like in Anchor, I'm in a silo and I don't know where I fit with everything else in the community. So that is my summary. And I would encourage any of the Anchor team members that are here to put your 2 cents in if you feel so inclined.
I'll be quick. I put some of my 2 cents in the chat. So, but I think that was a great summary, Karen. So thank you. We have had some participation by people of color in the team from it's definitely been a minority participation, not sufficient. So I would reinforce that point. And Nia says she's going to be working with us in the new year, so I'm looking forward to that. And I did put in the chat about this letter writing drive. There's tens of millions of dollars a year in resources that are at stake in this. I can talk about that more if we have time, but I don't want to take up the group time here.
I was first introduced to Ujima in general by Gio, actually, who has been a friend of many years, who I met at because of the panel I do at Anime Boston that was mentioned in my bio. And what made me stick around was when Ray says Ujima is looking to be a political home for people. Looking for a home. What I've been doing for a minute here. I've been doing grassroots activism for many years, but sort of splitting here and there, doing what needs to be done when it needs to be done, but not actually belonging in any place. So a personal note for me is that being part of CPGO has definitely made me feel politically at home. And home was a central discussion point for us because our major accomplishment for 2024 was the hosting of our first salon. Not a salon as in a hair salon. I know my hair is fabulous, but that's not what we do. Salon in the French tradition of just having various people, our minds in one room together, talking about what's going on in the world, thinking big thoughts, and maybe not coming up with solutions, but working towards them. While also, being very at home with each other. Many of the great political movements in history were made this way, just people who know each other and are of like mind engaging with each other in an intimate space. And that's what we decided we wanted to create, to make that home for people politically. And the theme of the salon was just that, home, housing with dignity. We spent a lot of time and a lot of meetings talking about what that means and how to engage with people about it. We also put a lot of time into logistics, where was it going to be? It ended up being hosted in a home of this lovely woman named Cookie, who has this beautiful backyard that she allowed us to gather in, food, who to invite. It was a whole to do because we wanted our first party to be a good one. And the main feedback that I got from it personally from the people who I invited was that they wanted more time, which is always a wonderful complaint to hear, that people want more of what you're doing. So I consider that the greatest success of our team. That was the rose. Thorns on the roses would be I feel like we do a lot of dreaming in CPGO. We talk a lot about what we can do to engage people and to bring people together. And 2025 is the year that we're going to make those dreams a reality. We have created subcommittees for the member team, one for events, one for political education, and one for policy. So each subcommittee will contain people who are especially passionate about any of those things. And there'll be little, if CPG is the home, then these are rooms. And you can go in your little room and work on the thing that you're most passionate about now. And that really is that. I know there are other CPGO folks in the chat right now. If anyone else wants to speak up anything that I've left out, or if anyone has any questions, now is your time.
I have a question.
Sure.
So is the ultimate goal of the political education to begin to pull people together to act on certain, either for or against certain policies in the state?
I think that moving towards that action, should be a big part of it. Angel, if you want to say more, I know that that is a subcommittee that you're part of, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it's that's an element of it. Definitely agreeing with it, not disagreeing. Finding what policies are important, and also finding alignment and agreement because there's just politics is a wide mix with different perspectives. But it's finding out what bills we would support and get behind, but also sharing different perspectives about different legislation that we would need to pass as well.
Um, I just kind of wanted you to like further explain like a political home and like what that means. And then afterwards, like how do you kind of establish that?
Sure. So my understanding and belief around a political home is a place and a space and a community of people that you can engage with politically towards a greater end. So one political home that I have also found in the past year is Heal the Hood. You go to Heal the Hood and everyone is of one mind about feeding and clothing people who need it. And we talk, we laugh, we joke, we have fun, we go out for dinner after, but we also put in a lot of work to make sure that those things happen. So with Ujima, it's not necessarily going to be those specific things, but I'm looking for that specific ethos, if you get me. It's I want people to know that if they come to one of these meetings, it's a space that is going to hold them and protect them and give them room to grow and to learn and be in community with other people who are trying to accomplish the same things. Does that answer the question?
Yeah, it does. Thanks, Diva.
No problem.
This is Naomi, and I'm trying to turn on my video. Yeah. There. I really liked, I mean, this is sort of in a way following on Gibby's question, and I really resonated when you talked about finding a political home, Diva. When I moved to this area, which was in 2016, I found a political, spiritual, emotional home in Boston Workers Circle, and got involved with Ujima as in a sort of liaison connecting capacity, and have been on the anchor team and attended a couple of meetings of CPGO. And I think I love the notion of home, and it's been really important to me. And I'm wondering whether, in addition, or instead, I'm not sure, having multiple homes, thinking of the idea of having our homes constitute a neighborhood. And my neighbors are not in my home, but they're my neighbors. And so thinking of developing relationships, because all of us are also involved in different groups in which we live our values, including the values that we share with Ujima. And so I'm really interested I love the salon idea, but I'm interested in moving beyond our homes to building neighborhoods and making those connections. So thank you.
I really love that, just the image of the neighborhood, because the C in CPGO is coalitions. So building with other people is central to what we do. So yes, I love it. Let's build a neighborhood. Let's see. Let me check if there's any other hands up in the chat.
I think Karen has their hand up.
All right, Karen, let's hear you.
I also have attended a couple of CPGO meetings, and there are two things that that I really was impressed by, and I want to register them in my perception. These are some of your successes. One is the fact that you bring disparate groups of people together in the salon, people that get out of their own circles and start talking with each other. And that's a way to build community. And I think that was just phenomenal. The other thing that I experienced, and this is towards Geo, and Mary, the two of you organized an appreciation meeting with Ujima team members and invited us to meet with each other. I had a chance to get into a much deeper conversation with Angel in that, and it has given me a great deal of depth of understanding. Plus, I got to meet all of these other people that are associated with Ujima that I never would have met any other way. So I applaud Gio and Mary for having pulled that together. I think that's one of the things that I personally am thankful for, but I'm also wanting more of that in my participation. is pulling together disparate parts of what I guess Naomi called the neighborhood and bringing us together in a way so that we can broaden our vision of where the community is and where we could be of help there.
That's beautiful. I love that. Well, we're definitely trying to create as many new opportunities for that as possible in the coming year. We're already cooking up the next salon. We're hoping to have more than one in the coming year. And, you know, we'll always keep it in the front of our minds when planning. You know, I am the point person for the events subcommittee. So I personally can commit to keeping it forefront of my mind, bringing the neighborhood together. Oh yeah, Ujima Cafe is coming back when it gets warm outside. Did you notice? And oh, let me look at this question in the chat here. Pardon me. I
Oh,
love
I
that
can
you
say it
guys.
out loud. Sorry. Yes, I was just asking. I like the fact that you guys do the subcommittees. Did you notice an increase in participation once you assign people with like action steps? Because like you said, a lot of stuff is like dreaming. I feel like a lot of member teams kind of experience that, or a lot of people in organizing experience that it's a lot of like, oh, let's do this, and then it never happens. Do you think the committees helped with that?
We've only recently implemented the subcommittees, so the future will tell if it helps, but I feel like it's going to do that, sort of like hone everyone's focus for the different things that we want to do. I know I'm ready to take much more responsibility for how our future events get done, just by virtue of having it like, okay, you're the point person, let's do it. I'm ready to make it happen. So hopefully what you described will happen and will be even better because of the subcommittees.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Of course. Let's see. Does CPGO plan to explore door-to-door neighborhood outreach? That's not something that has come up. Thinking more about metaphorical neighborhood than literal neighborhood, but to that end, going to specific organizations with outreach about what we're doing would be, I think, a good plan, actually. You put that into my head now. Been For last year, we were basically just counting on the connections that we already have in the community. So we all reached out to specific people and organizations who we already knew. But yeah, you just put it into my head to be a little more brave and adventurous about that. I'm not going to knock on anyone's home's door, but I can think of a handful of places that we could start reaching out to, you know, do a little cold calling and let them know what we have going on to see if they want to be a part of it. And let's see, I think Mary said something. I know you mentioned Heal the Hood being a political home for you. Do you see there being synergy between the work Heal the Hood is doing and CPGO? Curious how CPGO is working with other organizations, spaces, campaigns happening in the Boston area. I think that there's definitely potential for that. A lot of the people who were actually at our salon are people who I see every Sunday at Heal the Hood doing community work. So there's definitely an overlap in people who have shown interest in what CPGO is doing and people who are interested in what Heal the Hood is doing. So I definitely hope to build more with that organization. And I have been, on a personal level, I've been helping organize the donations for Heal the Hood for the past few months, which has been interesting. Thinking of writing a piece for the Ujima Wire about that, so stay tuned. I will tell you more in writing later.
It looks like Karen, you have your hand up.
Yes, I have a brief comment. As far as how to reach out to people, this past week I got my hair cut, and I choose to go to a friend of mine's salon. She happens to be a Black woman that I've known for years. And so it's an all Black salon, which I just love going there. But the person that was washing my hair and then blew my hair dry has just moved to Dorchester, and she lived in Florida for a long time. So she doesn't know much about Boston. And she's a young Black trans woman, and was talking with me about she's just getting to know places. So I find that when it's someone new like that, that I immediately go and tell her to look up Ujima for all of the businesses we love and the businesses that are on our alliance. And I mentioned Comfort Kitchen to her, which it was wonderful because 4 of our anchor team members met there for lunch a couple of Saturdays ago, and just it was so wonderful being there in Comfort Kitchen, knowing all that we'd supported in doing that. And so I think part of it is I run into so many people that have never heard of Ujima. So I've become a self-proclaimed promotion person for Ujima because I think we have to get the word out, really. But that's just me. Thank you.
Awesome. Just being vocal about this organization is just as important as the other organizations that we're a part of.
Yeah.